Can you introduce something about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Petri and I come from Finland. Recently moved here. I'm 36 years old.
Wow!
Thank you for having me here.
36?
36 years old, yes. I just turned 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Because you look so
younger.
young. Yeah.
Like in your 20s younger.
Oh, really? Well, thank you.
I want to know, what skin products do you use?
I'll give you my doctor's number later.
Like, how long have you been here in Vietnam?
It's been like almost exactly a month now, yeah.
Why did you come to Vietnam?
Well, it was actually very sudden and not planned at all. Last spring, my former employer, he has a company here. And he just texted me like, we might need someone like you here. We're making the Vietnamese branch bigger and we need someone who can also talk to the Finnish people and everything. So I was like, Vietnam, really? I had no idea about the place. I've never been here before, but it sounded like such an adventure. So I just wanted to take the chance and here I am.
I really like your accent.
Oh, thank you.
Have you heard the Finnish accent before?
No. But I can see that you like all the things about him.
That's not me, that's you!
You!
You just said in his heart! He was flooding!
Oh, I'm so flattered, thank you.
What kind of business are you doing in Vietnam?
Well, the company I'm working for is a Finnish company to do with consulting, mostly like chemical consulting, doing like export and import. I'm there for administrative work mostly, yeah. So it's exciting and very international, so yeah.
Does that mean you're going to be living here for a long time?
I think so, yeah. There's no plan like for how long, so I'm hoping for a long time because I really like it so far and yeah, no plans yet, so I think I'm going to be here for a while.
So you stay here for 1 month.
Yes.
What have you experienced here?
Well, I feel like I haven't really seen a lot yet. I've only been to Saigon so far and working a lot because I'm getting used to my new job. And it's such a big place, even just the city. So there's so much to explore, but yeah. District 1, I live in District 2, so I kind of go between those. But I think there's so much more to see. I'm very excited.
So, did you make friends with some guy in Ho Chi Minh City?
Yeah, actually yes, because my colleagues have been here for a little over a year, so they know some people. So I've gotten to know some local people and some other expats also, and I've made friends already, and it seems so nice, yeah.
Any hot, loving friends?
Well, you know, there are some guys, yeah, definitely. The dating seems pretty vibrant, so yeah, there may be something going on, but
hey, this is exciting.
yeah, a lot of options anyway.
For you, yes, because you're such a handsome man.
Thank you.
And which thing do you like the most here? Like food or?
Well, actually, food was one of the most anticipated things here when I came because I'm a foodie and I love Asian food. Vietnamese cuisine was a new thing for me. So when I came here, I was like, oh my God, the food is so good. I'm gonna stay. So that was like the #1 thing, yeah. But everything else also.
Which kind of food do you like phở or cơm tấm?
For example, yes. Yeah, I love pho. I usually eat it for like lunch or something. That's one of the best things here. But anything, we just go into like a Vietnamese restaurant and we order the table full. I don't even know what I'm eating half the time. I'm just like, this is so good. Bring me more.
So get back to your childhood. When you realized that you are different from the other boys?
I think as long as I can remember, I've kind of knew that there's something different, but it's hard to put into words. You don't know the terms, you don't actually even know what it is when you're very young. So I think around when I went to school, like maybe 7, 8 years old, I started to maybe realize something. The boyish stuff seemed to be like hard for me, sports and being like very macho and stuff like that. It's like, no, let's play here with the girls. I think that sometimes it's easier to identify when you feel a bit different and you feel like, okay, this is what the girls are doing. It somehow feels more natural to me, even though I know I'm a boy and that's who I am. But yeah, I think in elementary school I started to feel different, yeah.
Did it give you any difficulties?
Yeah.
Not at first. I think my childhood was very happy. I think it was more when I was in junior high and I started to realize more, like maybe I'm gay, or I knew these things out there that some people feel attracted to the same sex, and then you're like, no, I don't want to be, and then you all have all these feelings. I think at the time it started to be more difficult because you can see that people are more prejudiced and the other kids can be very mean, and there's some bullying, so...
There were like inner battles happening inside of you.
Yes, and it's not helping when you see that it's not okay for like the other kids, and there was some bullying. I'm from a small town, so when I was younger I think it was like we were much more on the spotlight then, and much more bullying in that sense, and there wasn't anyone saying that this is okay and you might be like this, and yeah, I really struggled with that when I was younger. Yes.
Did your mom and dad see something different about you?
Yeah, well, my family, I think they kind of knew from very young age because I was very different, and I have 2 older brothers, so I was very different from them. And they were into sports, and they were like much more boyish in a way, and I was much more sensitive, and especially my mom, she always knew, but we didn't talk about it a lot. And I didn't really feel like a pressure from my family. I didn't feel like maybe they won't accept, but I think more like the community around us and people at school, and you just don't want to be different. I was a sensitive, very like shy boy, so just the thought of being different was horrible, you know, I just wanted to fit in.
So did you ever feel like you were having like a competition with your brothers? Were they loving towards you, or were they bullying you at any point?
No, my brothers were always very sweet to me. They were never like mean to me at all. And there was no competition. Sometimes I feel like my oldest brother is like this perfect example of a child. He's done very well at school and professionally and married and has kids and been always like this model citizen kind of. So I think I've always kind of compared myself to him, maybe the rest of our family also, but not in that sense. There was no bullying, or I never felt that kind of pressure. I feel very safe at home when I was young, and I was very like lucky with that, with my family anyway.
And when you decide to come out with your family?
I think I was 16 or 17 when it was first like very apparent. We didn't speak about it much. My mom maybe asked me sometime like, are you maybe attracted to guys? I was like, no, what are you talking about? I think this was maybe around 15. If mom is watching, she might be like, no, she remembers it wrong, but it was something like that. And then at 16, 17, when I started dating, so that's kind of how I just came out. It was very natural, like introducing my boyfriend and talking about like maybe going to a gay club and just keep giving these little hints, and I'm dating someone, and yeah, it's a guy, and very natural, I think, not like a big ceremonial, like I'm gay. Of course, I was super nervous, but it went really well. So I remember this time I introduced my first boyfriend. So he came over for dinner, and my sister was there with her now husband, then boyfriend, and my mom. She was telling me later on that she didn't show this to me then, but she was really nervous because she knew that my boyfriend was a bit older than I was, 7 years. And she had this image in her head like of this big hairy daddy with leather and stuff like that, because especially at that time she didn't really have that good of an image from the media or anywhere. The representation isn't that good, so that's her fear. And then my boyfriend was very normal, looked kind of similar to my age and very nice, like this good boy. I thought she was just like, yes.
Thank God he's not a drag queen.
Yeah, we had a good dinner and everything went fine and very natural. So when it comes to family, I was very lucky, yeah.
And the love between you and said boyfriend, did it last over the years?
It lasted for a few years, yeah. I moved out of my parents' place to live with him also. So it was very good, and actually helped me a lot, because when I was younger, going back to like my early teens, and when I was still struggling with my sexuality, even though I had it very good, I kind of struggled with my mental health because of that. So I got depressed and my school was going like not very good. I had panic attacks and everything, and my mom didn't know what was going on. My family was like, what's going on? And I think this is where it came from, just from like feeling outside. And sometimes I even feel ashamed of it because I know that some people have it like much harder than me.
You feel ashamed about being...
Like having anxiety about it and depressed about it when I was younger. But then again, now I look at this young boy that I was like, sure, it's of course okay to feel not good about these things. So when I met my first boyfriend, I thought that helped me a lot. So I just kind of found myself and found the gay community at the same time, and I was like, yes, I have a boyfriend, he has a car, and he's picking me up with his nice car, and we're going somewhere, and I felt like such a grown-up, and just, haha, all the bullies back at my school. And
got your confidence back, and a safe zone.
Yeah.
Safe zone for you to be yourself.
Yeah.
So you asking this question?
You?
No, your turn.
Why?
Your turn.
Why my turn? 1, 2, 3. You win, you have to ask.
No!
You win. You have to ask because you win.
You always win. So, I would like to know a little bit more about your sex life.
Okay.
And, the first time that you know, did the doo-doo.
Okay, yeah. God, do I even remember it? It's been so long.
Right.
I think my first time was, I think I was 17. So this was actually a guy that I dated just briefly. I didn't actually call him my boyfriend. It's just something we saw each other for like a month. It was just before this first boyfriend I was telling you about. So probably like my first time is when I went to a gay bar, and then I hooked up right away with this very handsome blonde dude, and not very romantic or anything, but that's when it happened. And I was expecting to feel like so different or something, but it was just like, okay, I have a hangover, what just happened? But it was good.
What happened last night?
What happened? I think something happened, yeah. I think it was okay.
So you don't really remember the first experience, but after that, with your boyfriend, it was more loving kind of thing, yeah?
Yes, maybe that's what I think when I think about like my first sexual encounter, or like my experience goes back to my first boyfriend, of course, and that was like very good and nice, and where I kind of found myself like sexually, because that's you can be very nervous when you do it like the first time. So it's like, oh, gay sex, so frightening.
What's going
on?
To do, right?
Can I read up somewhere? I don't think there was Google at the time.
Oh, why you have to read when you can watch movie?
Yeah.
Look at the expert here, right?
I'm sure I did.
You're wasting your time.
Yeah, I'm sure I did that. Yeah, it's true. But is that really always the best version of sex, though? I don't know.
So, your first boyfriend, was he like your ultimate love story?
It's hard for me to think about that, or like I've never thought about it like that, because yeah, that's one of the most important ones for sure. But I think later on, it was actually just a few years ago, I think that was like, until now, the love of my life, which was it had started from a holiday, like a romance.
Oh, yeah.
So,
holiday romance?
Yeah, this very handsome young Greek guy when I was in Greece with my mom. We were on holiday and it was like lovely and everything, and then I was single. I was like very curious. I have to open Tinder and just look at the apps a little bit. Maybe there's something. And then I met this guy and we started to talk, and I was like, I'm stuck here with my mom. Or not stuck, we had a lovely time, but you know, if you're with your mom, it's not the first thing you do is go on dates or anything. So it's like, after a few days, like, Mom, so, okay, there's this guy I've been like talking to on Tinder and I really want to meet him. Do you think it's okay if I go and have a date? Because I felt really bad about like leaving her all alone. And like, she said, okay, sure. I know she was a bit like worried because she can be sometimes like very like, oh, we're in a weird country and a new place, and where is he? And I felt like such a little kid. I was texting her all the time, like, okay, I'm fine, maybe in an hour or maybe an hour more, and I'm still alive. And
oh, such a sweet guy.
Yes, we had such a nice date, and it was just perfect. We met a few times before I had to go back to Finland, and we stayed in contact, and there it was. We decided to start seeing each other as a long distance relationship, which was not easy, by the way. We did it for maybe a couple of years. We went back and forth a lot, and I was so in love, and it was so nice, and we were both like very into it. It was very expensive for one thing, and being apart was very difficult, but then when we met, if it was in Finland or we went to Rome also and to Greece, of course, it was always so perfect, just like a fairy tale or something.
Heaven.
Yes, and slowly I started to think that maybe we should think about our future. If like at some point there's an option that we could live in the same country and just see where our lives are going, if there's a possibility for that. And when we started to talk about that, we kind of just found out we didn't have the same goals after all. And I told him, like, it doesn't have to happen now, but like at some point in the near future, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, like, can we plan a little? But I don't know, I think he just kind of got scared or something, and it was such a disappointment, you know, all the time invested in this very hard long-distance relationship. I was very heartbroken at the time, yeah. We just kind of left things like that, like, okay, we'll just see what happens, but it didn't go well, and then I wasn't maybe the best boyfriend at the time because my mind was kind of elsewhere, and then we just decided to break it up, and I was so sad. Yeah, it's been a few years now, so I've gotten over it, but when I think about it, I think that was kind of like, it was it.
You can feel it, right?
You can still feel like how loving you are towards that memory.
Yes, I'm glad that I have like a good memory still of it, and I can really look back at it fondly, and we still message and stuff, and I hope maybe see each other at some points. But sometimes it's sad.
And now, are you open to love somebody new?
I think I am, yeah. I've been single now for a little over a year, which is, I think, the longest time I've been single ever. Yeah, it's been fun. I loved it. I like being single, so now I moved here. This whole new place. If it happens, it'll happen. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Have you ever dated a guy in Vietnam or no? You just stay here for 1 month?
Yeah, not yet. I've had a few dates, like just met someone, but not like real dating yet. So it's all very new to me. But there's a lot of guys. I come from kind of a small town, so it's like, okay, out of guys. So it's like, here it's just like endless stream of people, and when you go out, it's just like, so many possibilities.
Walking on so many possibilities.
Yeah,
right?
and the local guys seem very nice and very, very handsome, and yeah, it's nice. And also because it's such a like a melting pot, so there are like people all over the world here. So
what's your kind of what's your boyfriend type though?
Well, this is a joke with some of my friends, because I'm one of those people, like the only people in my group of friends who has like the widest range of tasting guys ever. So whenever I have like a new boyfriend, they're like, oh, this is surprising and totally different from the last one. And so I don't really have like a type, especially when it comes to like looks or age or something. So very open to all kinds of guys, but I like a guy with a sense of adventure, but still grounded in some ways. Someone who's confident and loving, you know, these basic things, yeah.
Emotionally smart.
Yes, that's actually very important to me, yeah.
That's something I always look for.
Yes.
Somebody needs to be emotionally smart.
So important, yeah. I don't actually care if you're smart, like in other ways. I think emotional smartness is like the most important thing, yeah. That's what I look for.
You ask the next question. Why are you
Why me?
shy?
Why
Go
me?
ahead.
He's
Why
handsome
me?
and you are shy to ask him questions.
No, because that kind of question is like your part.
Or you have like roles for different questions.
Not really, but... So basically you want to know if he is the big spoon or the small spoon?
The top or the bottom, I
Yeah,
guess.
the top or the
Yeah.
bottom.
Wow. You're going straight for it.
Oh, why you guys making me ask this?
Yeah, sure. It is hot here, yeah. Actually, for me, I hope my mom is not watching this. For me, it's more about the guy. And it changes like every time, so I don't know. Yeah, it changes.
Yeah.
Just like in friendships, you have different dynamics, so... But it's hard because you have this certain feeling about someone, then you hope that they have like this same one, because it can clash, and then it's just like... Someone just recently told me like, baby, two bottoms don't make a top. So it's like...
Two bottoms don't make a top.
Yeah, so it's just kind of you have to be aligned. So.
I know that you just stay here for a short time.
Yeah.
But can you compare the LGBT community in Vietnam and your country?
Of course, I haven't seen much, but here it seems, okay, it seems like relatively small for the size of the city, but it's very alive and it's very fun. For my hometown back in Finland, it's like almost non-existent because it's so small. We usually go to Helsinki, which is the capital, and not too far away from where I used to live. So that has a little bit of a bigger scene. No matter if it's like a different continent or something, it's always there's something similar going on. You can kind of feel the vibe, you feel at home. So of course there are differences with this, but you know, when I went to a bar here the first time and I met some guys, I'm like, yeah, this is like familiar territory, yes, very nice.
So what is your plan in the near future in Vietnam?
I have no plans to like leave anytime soon, so yeah, I just want to get to know the place, want to get to know the language, get to know the people, maybe meet some guys, yeah, date some more. And also because now I'm in Asia, I want to travel and see the places that are near here, because that's new for me and such a good opportunity. Also just to go and see the LGBT community in other countries near here.
So do you have any message to share with the LGBT community?
For me, like we were talking about community and also family, which is very important to me. If some young kid is feeling alone or like an outcast, and if you have trouble with your family, I think there can always be like a chosen family for you, and you can find a community and you can find the people, you can find the safety in other people. For me, I was lucky it was my family, and I've kind of extended my family to people in the LGBT community too. But yeah, that's my message to everyone, like find your family, and that's where your strength is.
Find your family, find your support, right?
Yes, indeed.
So, before we end the show, I need to give you something special from me and Tuân.
Oh really? Oh, thank you. Thanks, that's so nice.
Thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you for having me, it was a pleasure.